Hey, what's up? I'm Guy.
I'm John.
This is our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it. Give this video a like.
We also got a podcast. It's down below in the description. I want you to go subscribe to that right now. So like the video, subscribe to the podcast. Do it.
Absolutely. The Rams, John, won in the playoffs. They've advanced. Sean McVay versus Kyle Shanahan is something we talk about a lot. Kyle Shanahan is not in the playoffs. And they're drafting high again.
Beat him four straight times.
Look, I think from
Regular season games.
Clearly they are each other's contemporaries, as people like to say. But McVay right now is 4 years as a head coach, 3 of them double-digit wins. His down year, and you and I have talked about this for years with college coaches too. What are your down years? His down year was 9-7. This year, remember you and I talked before the season. We made a video. The Rams, just looking at them, they might have a little bit of a step back season this year.
I thought it was going to happen.
Goff wasn't great, and still they won 10 games, and then they won a playoff game with Goff coming off the bench, even though he was healthy.
Yeah, this was a big weekend for McVay, Guy. Because to me, I was thinking about it this weekend. A road playoff game is almost worth. To me, it's like at least 1.5. You could argue 2. This year, because of the no fans, like that does play a role. I would say this year it's just easier depending on who you're playing with the venue. But I would give it right back. They started a guy that was in the AAF or XFL or one of those leagues that went Corona bankrupt. He gets knocked out. They bring Jared Goff off the bench, who really could have started, who told Mike Silver that it was a tough thing to handle. And then if you're watching the broadcast, McVay, I already thought really highly of him. He earned some credit with me because we root for I want Jared Goff to be a good player. He's just not right now. When I watch Jared Goff play, I think I would not want him to be the quarterback of my team. You know who else thinks that? Sean McVay. He basically told Aikman that. You know what he did? He said, yeah, this guy's healthy enough to play. I don't think he gives us the best chance to win. He went with Walford in a playoff game, and it was working. And then he goes with Goff with one hand. Like, that was an incredible win, Guy. He went into Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson. I don't care how up and down their season was and just how they've been playing. Like, I give you a lot of credit for going in there and kind of kicking their ass.
Yeah.
Really shoving them around. He's got 3 playoff wins, right? That first year he lost to the Atlanta Falcons. Next year he makes the Super Bowl and wins a couple playoff games. And remember, the NFC Championship game was in New Orleans. Like, you win a road championship game, like that is.
That's a
top flight win.
From a Niners perspective, Harbaugh and Kaepernick got a lot of credit for doing it,
big time,
and deserved it.
And so 2 of his 3 playoff wins now are on the road against Sean Payton and Pete Carroll. Like that's something Kyle does. Like, Kyle got to get that. Like,
with the lesser
McVay's resume is pretty damn good, man.
I thought it was interesting. I think the biggest thing that McVay now has going against him is
he's not even 35, Guy.
Well, he'll be 38 by the time he get a new quarterback. 37, maybe. He's got a couple more. Well, I guess he's got 2 more years of Goff locked in, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, Jared could become the backup with John Walford as a starter.
Walford or Wolford?
John. I thought it was Walford, but
he's got to recover.
I don't think he's going anywhere.
Well, I mean, he ended up in the hospital the other night. Came back, was back in the locker room by the end of the game.
I saw the headline said it was a stinger. It's day-to-day.
I thought what was really telling, and you're right, the way that Aikman and Buck talked about it during the game, how clear McVay had made it to them that it felt through their voices that McVay was kind of excited to try something else with Wolford. He's like, they spent all this time on this game plan with him because they thought they could get him out moving, they could do different things with him, and then, all of that gets shot because Goff, just the way Aikman said it, because Goff comes into the game, and now you can't do any of that stuff. It was very telling. If Sean McVay could choose a type of quarterback. I mean, we know, and look, I think part of the reason that Shanahan has had the success that he's had against McVay is because of Jared Goff. We've talked about it. For the 49ers defense, it's money in the bank. That's the other thing that McVay has done. I don't know if you want to. I was about to jump to the defensive coordinator. If you have something else you want to say on that.
Yeah, I was going to just, before we get into that, because he's going to get credit on that too, is that Kyle gets a ton of credit from you, from me, from guys. We talked to Louis Riddick, who calls our game. Anyone that you read anything about that surrounds the NFL or connect to the NFL when they talk to people about Kyle gets, held to super high regard. and he deserves it because we give him a ton of credit when you watch his teams play. He gets more credits in losses than most coaches, right? And part of it's been the circumstances. Like, he got a lot of credit this year in going 6-10, what he did. Now, injuries, the amount of guys on injured reserve, the players that were on injured reserve. But, like, he's not winning the games, you know? Sean McVay, like you said, 3 or 4 years winning, and the other year he also had a winning season. They just missed the playoffs 9-7. And then, like, 2 of those 4 years now he's winning playoff games. So it's like he's successful when he gets to the dance. It's like, just based on resume, like, he's above Kyle right now. Now there's context and who you'd actually pick, but like, I used to think it was kind of separated, especially after Kyle's last year. This was a pretty big season for Sean McVay, because I also got to give him credit here. His quarterback, he's kind of stuck with the guy. Like, they won 10 games this year with Jared Goff looking terrible. Like, that's pretty impressive, right?
Yeah.
You get credit when you win despite, your quarterback sometimes.
Yeah, when you find a way to work around this weakness that you can't, there's nothing you can do about it other than find a way to make it work, right? To be a problem solver.
Guy,
to
how
coach
many
the players you
quarterbacks
have
in our lifetime that were either a star, I tweeted this out, a star player, or like on a max contract would not have started that game? Like,
Carson Wentz.
Looking back, it's pretty crazy.
The other guy that was in his draft, Wentz.
Yeah, but if they were in the same situation where they had made the playoffs with him as the starter the whole time, I think he starts that game. I think it was when you factor in
maybe.
Wolf.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, part of it is just that he has a thing that he can't do that other guys can do, and that clearly McVay is saying, if you can't be really good as just a thrower, then we got to find another way to win. Which what part of what you're giving him credit for is just having the guts to try something, to realize this isn't working. I got to do something different. So yeah, I mean, I'm with you there. And then the other thing is what we think Shanahan is going to have to do, which is replace his defensive coordinator. Sean McVay did, except Sean McVay didn't do it because his defensive coordinator left and got a job. He just decided, remember everyone was like, oh, and I felt this way. Wade Phillips, what a hire. McVay's never been a coach. Give him a veteran. And McVay's like, nah, I don't need the training wheels. I'm good. Thanks. I'm going to go hire this guy, Brandon Staley, who's been coaching outside linebackers, hasn't coached plays, was at John Carroll University like 4 years ago. I'll make him my defensive coordinator. Watch this.
Yeah. It was like contract ran out or whatever, fired Wade Phillips and got this guy who's now getting head coaching interviews. So he hires a guy who my sources weren't that high on. Now, my source might have been a little wrong, and I give him shit sometimes about it.
But
emotional. this guy, their defense is better than it was last year. When I watched their defense, it's one thing with Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. Those two guys are elite. But these other guys are just making plays left and right. Like, he deserves some of these head coaching interviews. And Sean McVay, like I say it all the time, a general manager is more than just the draft. It's about free agency. It's about contracts. It's about hiring a coach. Being a head coach is about more than just being the play caller. It's about leadership. It's about hiring your assistants. And you go from Wade Phillips, kicking him to the curb basically, and hiring this guy. Fuck, man. I'm telling you, I think this has been McVay's greatest feat this season. When you factor in hiring a new defensive coordinator, kind of out of nowhere, and leading a team when his quarterback just falls off a cliff. Maybe not falls off a cliff, but was really bad in a lot of games. And he wins a playoff game. Guy, I mean, I used to think like pretty highly of McVay. I think really, really highly of him. Like maybe the hype on him sometimes, like, okay, Sean McVay. No, he's a star.
Yeah.
He's everything I think we thought the Chucky Gruden was like going to come back and be. Gruden doesn't exist anymore. Besides just a below average coach. This guy is the guy.
Sorry, I was just going to say McVay, what he did was he came with the splash early, and now he just keeps adding substance behind it, right? Keeps adding substance. And the reason the defensive coordinator thing is relevant is because if Kyle does have to replace Robert Saleh, there's a known that we have with the Rams, who I think they were the best defense in like a few categories this year. Niners were not. The Niners were obviously very good too. But we know that you have that guy, Brandon Staley. We don't know who the 49ers defensive coordinator is going to be if it's not Robert Saleh. Now, I will say this. The flip
to me,
side
can you
of
just
it,
find another Robert Saleh?
well,
like,
sure.
Is D'Amico Ryan like? Do you guys just sustain it because whoever you hire? Because if you do make a hire, here's where Kyle could get some shit, right? He either elevates D'Amico Ryan or tries to hire his Brandon Staley, and they take a huge step back, or a dramatic step back,
or you hire
like
a Gus, or you hire a big name guy and it doesn't go well.
Yeah.
Now the flip side,
I give you credit when you kind of go lower name guy.
Well, that's what I'm saying, because you found that diamond. The other part of this is, though, I do also think Kyle can. It's not about catching up necessarily, but Kyle can have the kind of years McVay's having for a couple years, while McVay's still going to have to scratch and claw for a couple years here with Goff. Whereas if Kyle Shanahan can get a quarterback, whether in the draft or whatever it is, that's really talented, that's just a bullet that it's going to take a couple years maybe for McVay to get that bullet back.
McVay is very, very dependent on two human beings. That's 99 and 20. If those two guys are on the field, 99 is just destroying people, and 20 is just blanketing a wide receiver.
Yeah, they're really good.
So, and then all the other 9 guys are able to kind of blend in. A couple guys just naturally get better. All of a sudden, your defense is like top defense in the league. And then Sean can just manipulate some points by running the ball, getting his quarterback some layup throws. That was like Kyle's going to need, just a playoff year. Because right now, just based on resume, McVay also has the Super Bowl loss, right? So that's a wash.
It's a wash.
And he has multiple other
they
playoffs.
looked a little different, but yeah, it's a wash.
It's a wash. Did lose to Brady and Belichick, right?
Yeah. Mahomes and Andy Reid.
But they had, think how many Super Bowls.
No, I know. It's
those guys had proven a lot.
It's what they do.
I think you could take a step back. Most people thought the Niners were going to win that game, best team start to finish. I think people like McVay, Goff, the Rams, Brady, Belichick, and the game was really close.
Yeah.
It was actually impressive for McVay. I don't know. I can't exactly the Niners favorite. I remember kept going between one.
I don't think they were.
Pick 'em. Were they an underdog?
But
it was
I
thought it hovered the whole time between 1.5 and a
I
think
the Chiefs were favored, but somebody can remind us.